I come in and say, hey, this software will help you dial that in because I know you're dealing with last minute changes at signing meetings and all sorts of just kind of hassles and headaches with data. We come in and basically say, for operations, it's turnkey. We've done it before, and you can just sign on up and have all those in place, and you'll start saving time practically immediately when you get some of this stuff in place.
Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Ashley. I'm the CEO and founder of Cardigan Marketing. And today I have the privilege of talking with Bonnie Faucett. Bonnie is the CEO of Legacy System, Legacy Architects, Legacy Drafting. Bonnie was an estate planning attorney for years, and now she has created a company and a software all about helping estate planning attorneys stop the madness of clunky data gathering and late night drafting. Those are her words, and I love it. The late night drafting has got to go. So as an estate planning attorney, she saw this need, and she has now created a platform and a technology to help you. So needless to say, if you are an estate planning attorney, you're going to enjoy today's video. I believe it's going to help you understand and learn more about becoming a more profitable and just a better running estate planning firm. So I hope you enjoyed today's video with Bonnie Faucett. Bonnie, thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to be here.
So Bonnie, tell everyone who you are, what you do, and why does it matter?
Yeah, so I am Bonnie Faucett, and I created a company called Legacy System. But what I want to tell you about first is for 12 years, I was an estate planning attorney. I was licensed in Colorado and Texas and New Mexico, living in Colorado, and I built my estate planning firm here in Denver, serving clients all throughout the state of Colorado, so virtually in a lot of cases, and this was pre-COVID, as well as Texas and New Mexico, a lot of clients virtually. So for about 12 years, I figured out how to build and run a busy estate planning practice. Now, during those years, I had 4 children in 4 years' time. So I was trying to build my firm and grow my family. So what happened over those 12 years was I figured out how to systematize as much as I could through automations and workflows and checklists and all the things. And then when it got to a point where my youngest was born, I realized I needed to be able to have more flexibility for my young kiddos, and I needed to do something different than commuting and having the rigidity of client appointments. So I started moving into helping estate planning attorneys with software and systems and that kind of thing. And over about 5 years, I transitioned eventually fully out of practicing law and fully into helping estate planning attorneys run their firm the way that I figured out worked for me to run my firm.
Okay, so that's such an interesting transition, right? So tell us, how long did you practice, and then how long have you been in your new business or your new business venture?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to say full-time, probably at least 2 years now. It took me a little while to just be willing to let go of my law licenses, to be honest. I was just chatting with someone about that last week, about how, you're out of doing law, but there's something about holding onto the licenses. But I finally deactivated my licenses because I wanted to go all in on helping attorneys. And one big piece of that, because I've mentioned software and systems, is developing my own software. So that's been a really huge undertaking in and of itself, to work with a development team, to switch up a development team, to build an in-house dev team, along with all the training and resources and coaching and templates that I offer my attorneys as well. So about 2 years now that's been fully focused simply on Legacy System.
Okay, so tell me about this system, Legacy Systems, Legacy Architects. What is it, and how does it help people?
Yeah, so Legacy System is kind of the overall kind of idea. Like, I like calling it legacy because, and everything is labeled legacy, you'll see as I talk through it, because it really underscores, what we estate planning attorneys are here to do, which is to help our clients, put their legacy in place and pass it on to generations to come. And so Legacy System is the overall idea of, like, there is a system, there is a way that you can do this easily, efficiently, where you can wow your clients in the process, and where you don't have to work late nights or weekends, and you get to have your own legacy too. So the system is the whole idea of, like, whatever it is I offer is under some sort of systematized model. Legacy Architects is the actual software itself. That's one of the handful of things that we provide. This is a software that helps you fully manage all of your intake data and client design decisions, all the decisions they make that go into their estate plan. All of that's captured beautifully in an online app in a way where traditionally lawyers are dealing with Word documents and Excel spreadsheets and email attachments and scans and handwritten notes and fillable PDFs. I mean, you name it. It's a whole mishmash of things. Now it comes together in a really elegant, secure online way in the Legacy Architects app for you and your client to make sure everything is there and accurate and complete and organized so that when you go to drafting, it's all right there and easy for you. So that's the software. And that's has been probably an 8-year vision of mine. We launched it about 2 years ago. We have a brand new next generation build coming out this summer that I'm really excited about. So that's Legacy Architects. We also have an outsourced drafting company, Legacy Drafting. I fully built and trained my drafting team because I had a drafter in-house. And drafting can be so tedious and so time consuming. It's a really crazy process. So what I decided to do was I couldn't do it all myself. It's a lot of busy work. Only about 10% is attorney work. So I hired a drafter and trained her, and she and I figured out how to make it really smooth and efficient, took that knowledge to build a drafting team. And now we do outsource drafting for attorneys as well.
So you're really a one-stop shop for estate planning firms.
In a way, for the client service side, the side that gets the least attention sometimes, because it's not like the side that's super fun. I mean, marketing is fun and getting out there and connecting with leads and prospects is super fun. So this is a side that tends to not get much attention. And so I come in and say, hey, this software will help you dial that in because I know you're dealing with last minute changes at signing meetings and all sorts of just kind of hassles and headaches with data. And, we'll come in and do your drafting for you because I know you're still drafting yourself, and 4 hours of your time is not cheap. You could be using that for revenue generating purposes. So we come in and basically say, for operations, it's turnkey. We've done it before, and you can just sign on up and have all those in place, and you'll start saving time practically immediately when you get some of this stuff in place.
So who is your ideal client, Bonnie? What size are they? What is their gross revenue, number of retained each month, number of leads? What does that look like?
Yeah, so the ideal client is an estate planning attorney. They could be new or seasoned. It doesn't really matter, but it's the estate planning attorney who is likely solo, maybe has a loose relationship with a contract attorney or an associate, who is either brand new, so they don't even yet know what they don't know, but they just know that they don't want to be working crazy hours. They're doing the solo track because they're not necessarily wanting to be the big downtown law firm partner track. So that mindset, that also can be a seasoned attorney who's been doing it a long time and is just like, I can't grow. Like I've kind of reached the max of what my number of hours working will produce, but I want to grow without working more hours. So it's more of a mindset of I'm ready to systematize because I know that there is a lot of value in leveraging my time for growth versus just becoming really a freelancer and saying, okay, well, if I take on one more client, I've got to add 10 more hours to my week. I don't want you working late nights or weekends. I was doing that when I was raising my children, and systems are the way out of it. Checklists are the way out of that nightmare. So the ideal estate planning attorney would be solo or small firm who is just simply ready to make sure that their systems are efficient, streamlined, elegant, and give their clients a wow experience while they're at it. And I would say the sweet spot for volume or revenue would be somewhere between kind of working on 4 clients a month on average as a target up to, we've got some of the attorneys in our legacy drafting program up to 10 clients a month. So really anywhere in there. Once you get beyond that, you might be looking more for an in-house drafter. You still would need the software, of course, Legacy Architects. And we've actually helped lawyers transition from outsourced drafting to having an in-house drafting team once they reach kind of that really busy mark, 10 or so for 1 or 2 attorneys a month.
Okay. It's so interesting. I mean, it sounds like it was born truly out of a passion for you. I know you and I met on a Lawmatics webinar, and you talked about your mom of, was it 4 or 5, and you have 2 stepchildren? Is that right?
4 in those 4 years. Plus I have a little baby who turns 1 here shortly. Okay. So 5 plus 2 stepchildren now. So the family continues to grow.
So it sounds like this was born out of a true passion, right? For you saying, look, I'm more than just one thing. I'm more than a lawyer. I'm also a mom, and I have a family, and I want to travel. So, this is something I hear often. Mm-hmm. We have so many estate planning firms within Green Cardigan, and many female-ran estate planning firms. And this is a common conversation I'm having. So do they talk to you about that, of how did you do it? How can your system help me? How can I do both? Are they having these conversations with you?
Yes, that actually does come up. I do weekly live office hours with the lawyers in my program. And so questions like that, or just kind of getting to know lawyers on a personal level, comes up. And I'm very open about sharing my personal side of things. Because like you said, I mean, it is life where I'm not simply an attorney. I'm not, working, running the midnight oil or anything like that. Like I have my family. I have my children. I have travel. I have, summer activities. I was just planning out the whole summer for my kids and all the summer camps. So I do talk with my lawyers about that and how you balance that. And, on the personal side, I've actually got a YouTube channel where I just talk about my fresh perspectives on the typical enduring challenges that we encounter in life. So I try to touch on that because I see it a lot in my lawyers where they're reaching a level of burnout, and I don't want them to. I want to kind of bring them back to this space that's sane and systematized and enjoyable and feels really meaningful. So I try to serve that through just the personal connections and office hours through the YouTube channel on various topics, because there's certainly a lot to balance. So to your question though, or one of your comments there about, this passion, it was really kind of funny because I don't think that I would have ever imagined in law school that this is what I would be doing. 3 of my cousins went to law school, and out of the 4 of us, I think only one of us is still practicing. We just never imagined though that wouldn't be the case, but life happens. And anyway, so this passion came from really almost like an accident. I had bought in the beginning of my firm, I signed on to a software that builds automations and that kind of thing. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I bought these automations from a gal. She went into the app and she built these things and just said, okay, here you go. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? Well, I went and looked at one area of the app that ties back into the automations, but I went and looked there and I was like, what are all these things? There were like these tags listed, to track different things. I was like, what are all these? I don't know. Select all, delete, because I like a very decluttered digital space. And the system let me delete them. Well, it turns out they were all built into automations, and now no automation would run because they were broken, because I broke them and didn't know it. And I was so embarrassed that I just thought, I'm going to rebuild this myself. I'm not going to go and recreate what I messed up. I was too embarrassed to tell her. And in doing so, it turned out that just through that embarrassment and the path I chose as a result, that actually is what taught me how to build all this and how to start systematizing. And that's where it all came from.
I love that origin story of you just talking about how it came about. That's so interesting. And so many of us find ourselves as accidental agency owners or accidental law firm owners. So thank you for sharing that. That's very interesting. So I've watched that YouTube channel, and I want to know the who, what, where, when, and how behind the tattoo that you have. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun one. So I was anti-tattoo forever. That's just something, that my mom instilled in me. And then when I married my husband about 5 years ago, he has a number of tattoos in the military and that kind of thing. And so I started to get a little bit more open to it. But I was like, I don't know, like what would I be okay with forever? And having been through a number of things, I went through, a fairly difficult kind of breakup with my law partner when I did build my firm and added a partner, just kind of getting things kind of situated in a way that we were both happy with. So that was just a difficult time in my life. I went through that, but got to the other side, went through a divorce, got to the other side of that, been through a number of different things with the software. I've got stories galore on kind of overseas dev teams and things going missing and some craziness on the development side. I'm like, okay, I got on the other side of that. And so a couple of years ago, we were traveling actually to visit the outsourced dev team I had at the time in Croatia. So we were traveling through Croatia and Denmark. And I don't know, it's just my husband and I kind of have this thing where we've traveled internationally a lot. And so now it's kind of like, well, let's just go get like a little tattoo at each one of these places because I've got a couple more now. But anyway, it was the first one. And I just thought, okay, what is going to stick with me? What describes me, I feel. And in a way, just kind of thinking through my life experiences and having been through a lot, I think I was just like, you know what? I just keep going. Like I just run the race, endurance and perseverance. And I found it online and I like the font and I showed the lady and here we go. It's right there.
That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that. So
yeah.
I'm in marketing, right? So I want to know the marketing side of things for legacy system, legacy architects. What's worked in marketing? What hasn't worked? What would you do differently? Kind of talk to me about that, if you will.
Yeah. So, for marketing my own business for so far, I have really leveraged simply my networks, having worked with so many attorneys over the past 7 years, because I've been for about 7 years, I've been helping attorneys. For about 5, there was overlap with still practicing law. So I just continued to grow my base, partnered with a couple of different companies that have groups of estate planning attorneys. So I've really been able to build a solid professional network of colleagues who know my name, and I've built my email list. So I I'm not a marketing expert, but I really love things being like proper and in place. And I'm like, anytime I get a name in an email, it's going into the same spot, into the same system, into the same nurture sequence. And so I've been able to reliably build my list over time in that way. So right now, my primary marketing is focused on email marketing, which is actually amazing because it's practically free. Email marketing, once you get them into your system, you want to, of course, pay attention to them. And that's the whole nurture marketing idea, which I love. So that's what I've been doing mostly. Well, we're about to release the next generation of legacy architects. So I've actually got some ideas, on how to get more exposure. But as far as like what works and what doesn't on that side of things, that's still to come for me. There's going to be a learning curve there for sure, because I want to go beyond just simply the network I've built over the past few years. So more to come on that.
Okay, stay tuned on that. So tell me about the goals, the future. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see legacy system, legacy architects? You're talking about the summer. You have 2.0 coming out. So where do you see yourself? What does the future look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my ultimate goal, my number one goal, is to get as many estate planning attorneys onto the software as possible. Because what I know, having done this before, like I mentioned with Word, Excel, PDFs, handwritten notes, you name it, all over the place, is the amount of time saved there compared to anything I offer, whether it's the drafting or anything else. The amount of time that simply utilizing the software will save you is the biggest bang for your buck, hands down, out of anything I could possibly offer. So my goal is to get as many estate planning attorneys in the U.S. and beyond, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, other English-speaking countries, getting them onto it as well. It's not state-specific because it's just all about managing data for your clients. So we really can be even global to that extent. So that's my number one goal. Alongside that, what's going to happen and where I've developed the services, because being an estate planning attorney, I figured out how to really deliver services in a productized way. Legacy drafting is a service. I have to have the workforce for you to draft the plans that you say you need for your clients. So the idea behind that is I've got a really capable director of drafting named Amelia. She's amazing. And so she knows these big visions of, we're going to kind of create these drafting pods where we've got pods of 5 or 6 people that help a certain roster of attorneys, and then just keep replicating that on the service side. That way, if you're on the software, you can optionally add on the drafting services as well, because we know that's going to be a need for you. And or I probably will be creating at some point, how to build your own in-house drafting team in a way that can be consumable 24/7. I don't have to be a consultant necessarily, but that way, as you grow, you can just implement, here's how I built my drafting team, here's how you can build yours, so that you get all of your operations dialed in. Because that's my goal. I want estate planning attorneys to pay attention and to really reap the benefits from the most neglected part of their practice otherwise, which is the operational back end side of things.
I completely agree. Like I said, we have a large estate base of clients, and I completely agree. It is, the operational side is often neglected. Bonnie, this conversation has been great. Tell everyone how they can contact you, where they can find you to learn more about you and what you got going on.
So the best way to find me to see what it is we offer and learn more about it is our website, legacysystem.com. There's a few free resources that you'll find on the website. Depending on when you visit it, we might have different resources up. One that's coming up here very soon is an assessment that you could fill out to identify your number one profit leak in your law firm. And hint, it's going to be on the operational side, but I'll help you pinpoint where operationally that is. So you can get free resources there. And then it also tells you about the software. The software is kind of the entry point into the legacy system kind of ecosystem, so to speak, because once you have the software, then I can share with you where you might need to have further coaching or training or the outsourced drafting from there. So legacysystem.com.
Bonnie, thank you again for your time. I believe law firm owners in general are going to find this helpful, but obviously estate planning firms, I believe, will find this conversation very valuable. So again, thank you for your time, and thank you all for watching this video.